Good evening, Barn Racing fans, and welcome to episode 52 of the Cageful Throttle podcast. I'm Ed Fahy, and this evening, a bit of a full house. There's been a lot going on the last month. Of course, COVID has its vicious grip around everybody, really, not just Barn Racing. So there's been some fairly big developments in even the last 24 hours of this being recorded, so we'll be bringing those up for discussion. But before we do all that, let's meet the three brave panellists who've braved to go online this evening and talk about Barn Racing. He's the caged leader, really. It's Matt Josie.
Hello, Ed, and hello to everybody else listening tonight. It's great to be back for yet another banger podcast. Episode number 52, I think, on now. So it's getting on stronger and even longer. But yeah, thank you for everyone tuning in tonight, and I hope you enjoy the night.
Thank you. And it's the caged guy that makes it happen, really. It's James Keane.
Hello, Ed. Hello, everyone listening. I hope to be here in a little bit more of an excited tone today, but I'm sure we'll put on a good show for everyone listening. Hello to you, Matt, and of course the man you're about to introduce, third panelist of the night.
Yeah, and it's the caged guy we just found there, really. It's Jordan Hollins.
Hi, Ed. Hello, everyone else, and good evening. It should be a great show tonight. Got a lot to catch up on, so let's get into it.
Indeed, let's get into it. Well, what can we say, really? This should be the World Final preview programme, but in the last 24 hours, even 12 and a half hours, it was announced that the World Final, Unlimited World Finalists at Ipswich has been cancelled. Well, not necessarily cancelled, more postponed for a couple of weeks because uncertainty regarding COVID, the local council's decisions and all that. So it's been pushed back for a few weeks. Unfortunately, the way COVID's going, it mightn't even happen at the moment, but we can't speculate on that because obviously with COVID, you don't know what's going to happen next week, never mind tomorrow. So, any feelings on that, Jordan? I know you were really looking forward to it. What do you think?
Yeah, I was looking forward to it. I know that I made my feelings quite clear on the ticket prices, but no, I think everyone wanted the National Banger World Final to go ahead. It is probably the one event everyone looks forward to every year. It's the one everyone marks down in their calendar, and we were so close. We were really very close, and fair play to Deanwood and the whole team. They tried everything, but unfortunately, local council and everything's revolving around COVID at the moment. It just wasn't meant to be. As you said in the introduction, the next penciled in date's the 14th of November. We'll have to wait and see, really. It's still over a month away, whether things get worse or get better. Who knows? No one knows, really. So, fingers crossed we'll be able to enjoy it soon.
Yeah, that's 6 weeks away, and 14th of November is another Saturday night. So hopefully we can do it. James, I know you were looking forward to it as a marshal because you were saying earlier on, marshalling a World Final is as exciting as driving the World Final. Are you like, all right, it'll be even colder for me now standing there in my orange overalls and my flags are just...
Well, I wouldn't have actually been working. I'd have been there as a spectator. It's one of those nice things when you see the Bang World Final. I was due to be there on the back straight in the stands. I've been looking forward to it so much with everything that's gone on this year. It was the thing that was almost like, at least we're going to get this. The BWSs, which we'll come on to shortly, have been fantastic since we restarted the season. From the first open door meeting where a huge amount of drivers booked in, it's been a really good sort of build up to it. And I know that the guys in the office, Gavin, sorry about that, my little brother just decided to call me. Between Gavin, Adam, and then Dean and Jan and everyone around it would have been working absolutely flat out to try and find a solution. But unfortunately, they just couldn't get it over the line with the council, and so it's been postponed back into the date of the 1600 World Final, and then that's also been pushed back. I mean, would it go ahead? Would it go ahead with fans? No one knows at the moment. I think all you can say is fair play to the guys in the office for doing everything they can to try and get it to happen. I know a lot of racers were probably almost, especially the guys from Ireland, almost across the sea to be here, and it's gutting for everyone, but at the end of the day, you can't run if the council don't let you know. You can't make a decision until the council make a decision, and it's late on. But at the end of the day, probably, what can you do? I mean, all you can do is change the ever changing world we're in at the moment. So, absolutely gutted that we're not going to see it because I think it was shaping up to be brilliant.
I think he'll be absolutely gutted as well, James. It looks like Aston Villa are about to lose 1-0 to Stoke. Is that what your brother is ringing you about?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't answer it. I thought that'd be rude. Sorry, I thought my phone was on silent. Sorry about that.
Oh, dear. Oh, well. We won't talk about football here. We're not a football-related podcast. Apart from the usual, only needs one ball, whereas you need two balls for his bangers. But, yeah, Matt, you seem very despondent about it as well. Obviously, it's a highlight of the season for you as well. Biggest night of the year. I think... I mean, it's like we were saying, you can't, right now, you won't know what's going to happen next week, never mind in a couple of weeks. So what do you think?
Yeah, exactly that. Obviously, we're in an ever-changing world now of COVID-19. To be honest, as I say every year, I do actually plan on going to this Ipswich World final because I've not been yet since the last one at Wimbledon. And this was meant to be my year. With COVID, I thought I'm not going to risk it or bother this year. I am gutted about it, but it is what it is. And I was looking forward to it because they announced it was going to be live on Speed of TV. Inclusive with the your monthly payment, so that's all good to hear. That's a great offer, that is, for £13 a month. Another little plug there, but yeah, I was looking forward to it. Sadly, it is what it is. Hopefully, by November the 14th, it will go ahead, and the drivers can get the night they've been dreaming of most of the year. Obviously, unfortunately, another thing we've got to mention is Dennis Vorkink. Obviously, there was a page to support him and get him over for the National Banger World Final at Ipswich, but unfortunately, it's too out of reach for him. He'd have to self-isolate if he came in the country. It's just gutting for him. But hopefully he'll be back for 2021. But yeah, overall it's gutting. But all we can do is hope that we will get a World Final this year.
That's it. I mean, everything else now is taking a push as well because, I mean, there hasn't been, say, a National Heart Rod World Final. There hasn't been a Formula 1 Stock Car World Final. There hasn't been a Stock Car World Final. There hasn't been a 2-litre Stock Car World Final. There's been so many World Finals being canned. So I think we need to look at the positivities. At least Speedworth, Dean and Janet we're doing their very best to actually have a world final because they recognise the effort that's gone into it. Like Dean,
we've had a Championship of the Universe, though.
Oh, we have, and have we? Yeah, we have actually. We'll come back to that in a minute. We're saying, Dean, all the flack that he gets both publicly and online, he did race himself for a long time. He still very occasionally gets behind the wheel. So I mean, he's raced and he's promoted, so he knows what it's like from both sides of it. But yeah, I mean, all going well. November the 14th, we'll be at Ipswich. Whether it's behind closed doors or not, we don't know. Obviously, a good plug for Speedworth TV. If you can't make it there, watch it. It'll be cheaper than the proposed entry tickets, I'm sure. There's a huge debate about that. The last time they were a little bit expensive. A lot of people were giving out about it. But then again, making the old comparison of how much would a night out at the cinema cost, you never mind going to the pub. So it could be a case of, this could be the best we're going to get all year and just be thankful for it, really. Like, there is racing going on, but obviously it's very restricted in that. Like, going to watch a bit of rookies there now until your own Saturday night, so I don't know there's literally been changes in the last 2 hours. The government in Northern Ireland, they might turn around and say, look, you can't have it. So I think just, I've said this frequently, outside of the banger scene, if you'd have said 12 months ago this was all going to happen, you'd be laughed at. Like, what do you mean? How could that ever happen? But no, it has. So, we just have to grin and bear it, really. And for the looks things, it's not really going away. So, it could even be a case of this time next year we're discussing the same thing. But yeah, I mean, again, we could sit down and discuss all the negatives and all that, but we've actually had some very good racing in the last couple of weeks. It would have been an ideal curtain raiser to Ipswich World Final, of course, Banger World Series in Northampton on the Shale, which was seen as one of the very best BWSs for a long time, really. James, you were there. What do you think?
Oh, sorry, Ed, which one was that? Sorry?
Northampton.
No. Unfortunately, none of us could make it to Northampton. You seem to think I'm everywhere at the moment. Am I that omnipresent?
Oh, we do, yeah.
No, that's
Cole Pilkington.
Yeah, I know. It was obviously the first BWS at Northampton, but obviously what we as it came. Obviously, we know that Dean Goodall took the win in what turned out to be a great turnout of bangers down there. And everyone that came back from the meeting said what a great meeting it was. A man who was on our podcast, the last podcast we did, Mark Ayres, he was down there starting the meeting, and he came back to say what a great meeting it was as well. Like I said, unfortunately, I wasn't there. I know, Ed, you'd like to think I'm everywhere at the moment, but it was.
Nice.
But all the reports that came back said it was a great. And like I said when we were talking about the World Final, we seem to have had such brilliant Banger World Series since we've resumed, which makes it even more gutting that we haven't got the World Final to show for it at the end. But there you go.
That's it. But okay, then we had a beat where somebody was at. It was probably even better. I'd say this could go down as one of the meetings of the year already. BWS Yarmouth. Jordan, you quite enjoyed yourself, if I understand correctly.
Yeah, no, absolutely superb meeting. A Sunday afternoon and a 2 p.m. start. It was rather too tempting, to be honest, not to make a trip to the seaside on the Norfolk coast yet there. Absolutely superb for the BWS finale. Absolutely awesome hits. Won't mention what happened in heat number 1 too much, purely because that's already been discussed a lot. But heat 2 was superb. Big pile up on turn number 4. Heat 3, you had Ben Smith getting destroyed by the Lee Hughes, Dale Hughes, and Patrick as well. The grand final was awesome. Congratulations to 440 Lennon Phillips. He looks like he's going to qualify for the 1600cc World Final and obviously now the Unlimited National Banger World Final, so fair play to him. That was a superb drive. And it must be said as well, what a great performance 760 Joey Reynolds and 570 Jordan Cumming put into that race as well. Two drivers that I think it's fair to say probably you wouldn't expect to crash, let alone into each other, but they did that at Yarmouth and they took home 2 very bent motors. Both of them obviously have qualified for the World Final as well. So, it was just an all-round, it was a brilliant day. And, even a few months ago, if you'd have said we'd have got 5 BWS rounds or we'd be looking at having a World Final this year, you'd have probably been laughed at just because of the scenario at the time. But fair play to everyone. They've got it done. And as James said, the one piece of the puzzle we've got left, it's always the hardest one to put in place. Like if you have a 1,000 piece puzzle or whatever, it's that last little bit. And in this case, that is the World Final itself. So, I know you mentioned about behind closed doors. Personally, I hope it doesn't go ahead behind closed doors, but, the amount of effort the drivers have put into it has been absolutely phenomenal. I think every BWS round that has happened since lockdown or post-lockdown, so that's Ipswich, Northampton and Great Yarmouth, 4 of them have been fully booked, and they've all been great meetings as well. Probably Yarmouth the liveliest, I'd say, and as you said, probably the liveliest BWS I've seen since the last one at Wimbledon. But no, superb day, and let's just hope the World Final can go ahead now.
I'm quite flattered, George. I didn't actually say that to you directly with this saying how many steps there were. I said that on Oval Chat. I didn't realise you read my Oval Chat posts.
I do listen to what you say sometimes, mate. I'm not always ignorant.
I think
but no, you are right.
You're the only one, mate. You're the only one.
If he says so. But yeah, looks. We were discussing World Finals. Another World Final, and probably it's actually the longest running banger World Final title, and so many of them. This is kind of seen as one of the proper ones. In the PRI World Final at Mendips. Now, Jordan was there in more than one capacity. He was there for Kate, but he was also doing my job, basically screaming into the microphone. So, Jordan, without further ado.
Yeah, no, it was a great day. I think I was doing pretty much 4 jobs. I was a photographer, an updater for Caged. I was on the mic. I was doing punditry. I had all sorts of different hats on. What a superb day yet again. The second PRI World Final to be held at Mendips, and again, fully booked list, 120 cars, I think, which it must be said probably is the best turnout the World Final has got since, I'd say, 2012 or 2013 when, 2012 especially, that got, 180 cars. But unfortunately, it was absolutely hammering it down all day. And it was one of the meetings where you sit back and think, what if it was dry, and that could have been probably one of the greatest World Finals. But anyway, I sort of digress there. No, Mendips was superb. 720, Kenny Joe Gabriel bringing out the Mark III limousine was absolutely awesome. Obviously, the Mondeo variant, he put that to good use. Obviously, you had the likes of DWO, you had 190, Steve Bailey Parky, and 341 Jonesy. Later, Connor, Runa, and Chaz. You had the Gladiators there, they were getting involved in it, and you had TMT as well. So you had the Mendips locals, you had people coming up from the West Country, obviously Terry and Sam Hill as well, and you had the drivers and teams that you'd expect to have raced at Arena if the World Final was still there. Again, making the trip down to the Southwest, and it was absolutely brilliant. Obviously, congratulations to 440 Big Mac Macaulay Mills. Commiserations to 741 Charlie Daniels. I mean, I'm not going to get too involved with the whole who deserved it, because at the end of the day, they're both two absolutely fantastic drivers, two very well-deserving drivers, whoever would have won it. And they both went about it in the right way. You know, not once did Macaulay Mills back out of the pile-up, even though we were trying to go around the right way. And 741 Charlie Daniels, I mean, what a brilliant never say die attitude. If it is possible, when you could have cut the World Final trophy in half and given both half each, I think you would have, and that would have been fair. But no, great day. Massive thank you to everyone at Mendips again for welcoming me and letting me go on the comms. And hopefully I'll be back there next season. Maybe more than once, who knows? But we'll have to see with COVID and everything going on there.
That's good, but you've kind of scooted around saying well done to the winner. We kind of need to talk a little bit about it. Now, can you give an unbiased version of what happened? Because basically, there was a protest lodged regarding the result, wasn't there?
Yeah. Okay, so massive pile up after the restart. Cars going into it. I think the leader at the time was 542 Craig Gulliver. He retired. Big Mac takes up the running. At which point you've got more cars on opposite. Big Mac gets through a few times, which is again why I said, you know, he was very deserving of it. Charlie Daniels was up there as well. He kept going, as was 349 Noddy, Lewis Price. You know, what happened to Noddy in that one? That was really weird seeing him. I don't think I've ever seen him do so many laps.
I mean,
in the meeting before.
So weird to see a Gladiators car fighting for the win in a World Final.
Yeah, it was. No, I mean, I think it was actually 190 Pikey turned it round and stopped Big Mac. His gearbox unfortunately went, and he retired onto the centre. It was at this point, I think Charlie Daniels came around the next time, and he got stopped in the pile-up. It was then that 131 Sam Hill also came round, and he was trying to navigate his way through. Terry Hill comes off of the centre, and I will admit, having been on it for a few laps, to T-bone Charlie, just as he's looking like he's going to get out of the pile-up. So at this point, Charlie's up against the Armco. I think Sam's got through the pile-up, but he's still a lap down or whatever. But yeah, obviously, last car running, Sam Hill, I think, eventually retired for whatever reason, unable to unlap himself. And the starter was basically saying to Charlie, if you move, you've won this. Charlie's managed to get the car going. No steering on the Monday or whatsoever. Pretty much destroyed. And the checker defence waved. It was a very weird ending, and I was in the commentary box for that one, and the lap scores were looking at me, and they said, what do you think? And I said, in all honesty, I don't know. Because at the end of the day, I'm not going to say, you know, a driver won it, or I think this, I think that, because I don't want to be put in that position, because I know how much effort the drivers put into it. But anyway, the decision's been made. Charlie Daniels wins for our last car running. In my opinion, totally fair. You've seen old firecrackers and old races at Arena win by last car running. I mean, banger racing for me, I will define it as either the first driver to complete a set number of laps or last car running. I think that's how you define it, and I think everyone knows that. I'm still actually quite surprised at how many people I've seen saying on social media and online going, you can't win a banger race or a world final via last car running. Well, in my opinion, why not? But on the other hand, I can see everyone's point, and I actually asked Mick Maskell Jr. about this for the Speedway final, and he said to me, the thing is, if you were going to bring in that rule, and it's going to be a lively race like the Mendip's World Final has been for the last 2 years, what's stopping you pulling off onto the centre and then coming back on once the pile-up ensues? So I think you do have that rule. Obviously, Macaulay Mills has put in, as you say, basically asked the ORCI to take a look at it. They've come back and said, yep, fully agree. No one was told it would be decided by last car running. Again, I thought it was pretty common knowledge that, last car running could be decided in a national banger race, even if it was a world final. But, the ORCI have made their choice. I'm certainly not going to keep bringing it up like certain people have with the Speedway World Final over the last 11 months, just because I think it is so unfair on not only Macaulay Mills and Big Mac, but also his dad Rob, who helps out with Mendips and the national bangers at Mendips lot. 741 Charlie Daniels, it's so unfair on him, and it's unfair on Mendips themselves. The amount of people blaming Mendips and Jack, can I just say that in this position, their hands are tied. They have to accept what the ORCI have said. So, if everyone blaming Mendips and that, you've got to stop it. In this situation, we've got to just hold our hands up and say, whatever we think, whatever opinions we share, well done to not only both Big Mac, Macaulay Mills, well done to Charlie Daniels, and well done to all drivers, because, we can't let the controversy ruin what was probably one of the best national banger meetings and probably one of the best national banger world finals you will see. It was absolute destruction all day. 3 very good last chance qualifiers, and some brilliant
Jordan,
action as well.
That is so well said, Jordan.
That's good. You've summed that one up pretty well. you're always going to get controversy in the world final. That's kind of part of it. It's one to be accepted.
That's one thing that me and my dad were sort of saying on the way home. I actually said to my dad the other night, if we travel home from a meeting and we have nothing to talk about from that meeting, it's probably not been very good. But the fact is that for most of the 4 hours home, we were talking about both Big Mac and Charlie Daniels. We were talking about how fantastic the other races were and how good the F2s were. We were just buzzing from it all, and that for me is what a national banger meeting should make you feel. What is a world final about?
So well said. So well said, Jordan. I think it just goes to show. You've said this before, and I think anyone that's been to Mendips would agree. It's such a great banger track, and for what was such a great world final, I know it's ended in a bit of controversy, and I know the appeal had to go to the ORCI. Generally speaking, the rule is if the steward of the meeting hasn't told you in a driver's briefing that the rules differ from the standard race rules, then they don't. But at the same time, I also know from experience that drivers' briefings aren't currently happening due to COVID. Due to COVID reasons, you can't get a load of people bunched up.
Can I just say, the drivers' briefing definitely happened.
Did it? Okay.
I saw it with my own eyes.
Okay, absolutely.
And Rob Mills was actually the one doing it as well.
Okay, fair enough.
Which is again where his controversy got brought into it. But that's all I'll say on that.
Okay, no, absolutely fair point then in that case. But at the same time, it's like I said, it's harsh to bring a driver's. We've been through this before, haven't we? How much we spoke about this before? Bringing in a driver's integrity and reputation just because they've won in controversial circumstances is not what the sport should be about. But in the age of the internet, everyone loves a bit of controversy, and everyone will join one side or the other, and until they're blue in the face, will argue their point. But what sounded like an absolutely fantastic race, and almost like the rebirth of that world title. I know that it's a world title so close to your heart, Jordan. To have a good PRI ORCI World Championship like that can only be good, and hopefully next year can be built upon even more. And well done to you, Jordan. I know that you did so much work with the programme and the commentating as well. It must have been a great experience for you up in the box.
Yeah, no, it definitely wasn't a like I said, a massive thank you to Jack and Johnny and everyone else at Mendips for making me feel very welcome. They have got plans to make the World Final much bigger and much better next year, and they are a promotion that will listen to feedback as well. So, I think they will take the criticisms on board and they will listen to it to make it better. I have full faith in them there. They've had 2 fantastic World Final meetings, and I'm sure next year will be just the same.
Well, we can hope so. At least it proves there's still a bit of excitement left in racing these days. It wasn't just a roundy final like some of them seem to be. Well, you enjoyed yourself anyway, but it sounds like so. So what's it like quad tasking as opposed to multitasking, like doing 4 teams?
Well, for those people that say men can't multitask, they didn't see me at Mendips. That's all I'll say.
Ooh. Well, we'll have to ask our Steph about that, so she has to say. What you reckon?
Jordan, are you old enough to qualify as a man yet? Or are you still a boy?
Ooh.
Sorry.
Ooh,
Sorry. For the people listening at home, Jordan is considerably the youngest member of Cage, so he does have to get a bit of grief for that.
I am 21 in December, but I'm the youngest, but probably one of the most mature.
Ooh, that was harsh now. That was
not
harsh.
Massively difficult.
Not when you've got Matt Josie as your leader, no.
Leader or just assumed leader?
No comment before I get sacked.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Just
didn't think about that.
I wouldn't sack Jordan. I'd sack you lot.
Well, you better give me a wage increase before you sack me. From nothing to double nothing.
Okay, so from the comment stream, just say that Liam Horner, who recently recorded a fantastic article with me and Jordan as well, has said that number 1, James doesn't qualify as a man, and number 2, Jordan's definitely more mature than James.
Thanks, Liam. Awesome.
Okay, well, I see now that's being pointed out. You have to prove it now. So, a bit more mature behaviour, please, chaps. That doesn't include me. I can say what I like, or can I?
I mean, I'm not going to argue with you, Ed.
Thank you, Jordan. Jordan knows. You see, there you go. Maturity. He knows. Anyway, we'll move on. We're looking at next year on the script. Actually, we'll skip over the results and overview run there for a second. I know Jordan's dying to talk about both the Kings Lane World of Shell and the Pre-75, which is another of the few meetings that have gone ahead this year that are well received. So what was it like out in the mountains of East Anglia?
Yeah, the mountains of East Anglia treated everyone very well, I think. I won't ramble on as long as I did for the Mendips report. But Pre-75 was a very good night. Pre-75 bangers probably weren't as lively or quite lived up to the expectation put on them, especially when you had the original list for the original date in April. But no, it was still a good night, seeing the cars get thrown around. It must be said as well, 224 James Burrows, absolutely awesome performance in a car from, I believe, the 1930s. It won the DD as well. Very unlucky to 624 Cameron Hubbard, who again ran in very close. Overs, probably. I think most people were disappointed in the lack of DD, but fair play to 791 Nicky Spud Young, who seemed up for it. But again, I can perfectly understand that drivers wanted to save cars. Absolutely awesome watching Callum Gill and Joey Reynolds throw their Mark 1s around. The 2 litre bangers were superb. Enough said. I think you had just over 30 of them because they were a late edition, but no, they were very good. World of Shell again was a very good meeting. Heat 1, you had 88 Alan Speedy Reed getting destroyed by Taylor Salter Lump and 828 Jordan Sharp on turns 3 and 4. Heat 2, 284 James Head took the win, but he got stopped, I think, on the running down lap or quite close to it. 617 Jack Avery. I'll tell you what, that guy can drive. Absolutely brilliant. And so wonderful to see him throw the car around. Even when he was coming into the turns and he had a bunch of back markers in front of him, he weren't letting off. He just knew when to spin them out and stuff, and it just showed his banger maturity, for want of a better word, in terms of he just knew what he needed to do when he come up behind the back markers. Superb all-comers won. You had the Silver Boys versus Le Bears on turn number 2. And then you had Leonard Dunn's Ford Scorpio Hearse getting absolutely destroyed by a very lively and cracking driver, 222 Matty High, in the final race of the night. The Bears and the Barton Boys also put on a show. So, yeah, I've no complaints from the 2 meetings. World of Show was probably the livelier, or most definitely the livelier. But no, well done to Trackstar again for getting the meetings on. And that was the World of Show was actually the first major title to be raced for this year. So again, hopefully it sets the tone for the rest of the year.
That's good. Like I said, hopefully, because we can't. We don't know what's going to happen next, unfortunately. But hey, we said a few quick results and overview rundown. I think Matt, you were dying to get on for this one, weren't you? He's there.
Oh, hello. Sorry, I was daydreaming there.
No, I was saying. I think were you the one who threw into the script? You did a quick results and overview before we get to your big piece in a minute.
That's right. I'm a bit half asleep. Sorry, guys. But yeah, we'll get on to my bit when you're ready.
Okay. Well, I was saying before that, was it James who went through the results and overview? I was just literally throwing the script at the last second here, so I don't know who's what.
Yeah, so it's just the quick results from the Northampton Gold Rush, which turned out to be another fantastic meeting on shale at Northampton. It really is proving to be one of the premier shale tracks at the moment since it's bedded in. Obviously, everyone knows the problems it had to begin with, especially as the track was bedded in, throwing around the Brisker F1s obviously caused loads of problems, but the work that's gone in there has been fantastic. And the Bangers Gold Rush proved to be another great event there, because the Dash for Cash ended up with probably about 3 cars moving at the end, which was won by 321 Gareth Parker. And the Gold Rush Final, which provides the qualifiers for the 1600 World Final, which will happen in early December, was won by 325 Wiggles, Adam Wixon, who's an absolutely fantastic rookie driver. So just basically a shout out for what a great event that was. I've watched it back on Speedworth TV. It looked, again, we've been talking about whether or not the 1600 Formula has been struggling recently. I think this was one of the meetings to show that no, it's not. If you get enough drivers there on a track like Northampton, it was absolute carnage. There was probably nothing rookie about it. It's basically just 1600 bangers these days, and absolutely fantastic meeting.
Well, that's good. I mean, we're not getting as many meetings this year, but we're getting good meetings, which is what's important, really. So we're moving on now. Matt, we poked Matt Josie under the table. He's getting all excited now. This was the first of 2 caged meetings this year, but it was back to basics at Ringwood Cheetahs. So Matt, you're dying to go, so we'll unleash you.
Yes, so I'm dying to go. I've always fell asleep then. Sorry, guys. But yeah, we're going to kick things off. First ever back to basics caged open at Ringwood Cheetahs on Sunday, 20th of September. That was just one of 3 fantastic meetings for Super September at Ringwood Cheetahs, which was a fantastic 3 meetings, it has to be said. But anyway, we're going to kick things off with the caged open for back to basics. We had around, I think it was 39 cars in total for the first running of this event, which was a record-breaking B2B turnout for the venue. Unfortunately, due to COVID, I couldn't really hype it up too much in the weeks build up due to I didn't want to let too many people down, not be able to get bookings. Hopefully next year we'll try and get over 100 cars. But anyway, on to what we had in the day. We had, as you'd expect, plenty of variety. But there was 4 top car awards for the day, which is a mixture of top paint or sort of best variety on the day. One of those awards was a shared award for the Bee's Knees, who had a total of 3 or 4 fresh cars on the day, but I gave it particularly to the Vauxhall Zafira of 141 Patrick Harwood. So it was a great team effort from them guys, bringing out some fresh motors and some variety as well. One of the awards went to 10900 Alfa Romeo. We also had, what was his name? Sorry, guys, I'm a bit off asleep today. Where is it? Sorry, guys. Made a mess of this.
This is why he hasn't been on it for a while.
I know.
He's just out of broadcast practice. He's well out of broadcast practice.
I'm well out of practice. Oh God, where is it? I've lost it, guys. Oh, it's that's it. It's Ganter with the Mazda Demio in 205. That was one of the more unique cars of the day, and so we had some top variety cars, decent action. The final was won by 308 Dan Cooper. It was a top drive from him, a well deserved winner. Overall, great day. The weather remained great. There's also as well another one I want to quickly mention is 251. James Lake had a fresh Cavalier, which was pretty cool to see. But yeah, it was a good day. Do you know what? It was just a standard B2B sponsored by Caged this year, unfortunately, because of COVID, and we didn't want to take away any support funds from the day. But like I said, next year we're going to try and make it even bigger and better for 2021 with maybe an all-banger meeting, hopefully. But we've got that to look forward to as well. I'm just going to quickly go over as well the two other meetings we had in Super September at Ringwood Cheaters. So on the 6th of September, we had the Unlimited, Kaplan Cup and Hudson Hacker Memorial, which had just shy of 60 cars on the day. This was included as well a lot of old motors. We had an Austin A110 Westminster for 49 Keatsy, very smart car for him. Splat in 228 had a fresh Daimler Conquest. That was probably by far the car of the day. There was a fresh Rover P4 for 121. That was Dale Boy, which was a very smart car. There was also a Humber for 958 as well. Bruno came all the way from up north for this one, East Anglia, in a fresh Rover P5. That's 537. There was a Jaguar XJS for 323, Dean Kelly. And there was loads of other cool cars as well. The action was just as good, if not better, than the 2019 event, with every Hudson Hacker race having pretty much a track blockage, which was brilliant to see with all the old motors getting stuck in. We also had in the Kaplan Cup National Banger races, we had Patch in 77 come out for a rare appearance this year. He got absolutely demolished in heat number one and heat number 2 as well.
Point of clarification, was it Patch?
No, it wasn't Patch. It was Patrick Beadle. Yeah, Patrick Beadle was on the list for that one, but it was actually Patch Beasley. So that was a great meeting. And of course, last Sunday we had the annual Dave Forrest Memorial Van Bangers. 38 small vans and 38 big vans graced the track this year. And in terms of what we had on the day on Sunday as well, the van of the day was the LD Ambulance of 323 Dean Kelly. Finbar had a 2016 Ford Transit, one of the sport's first to be ever raced, which was pretty unique. Elsewhere, there was another pair of Bedford CF ambulances for Swampy and one of the Wild Bunch drivers, all the way from the Isle of Wight, actually. So they put in a good effort. Again, another very good day. We had small vans figure eight all day long, plenty of big hits on the crossover, which you don't see very much of these days. And whilst the big vans, once again, were absolutely superb, and the Destruction Derby, as you'd expect, was absolutely brutal. It's probably one of the best van DDs I've seen for many a year. So yeah, another great meeting there, and I almost got killed as well
I was about to ask that, Matt. How much of your life flashed before your eyes in that photo?
Literally, the whole 26 years of my life flashed before my eyes. The thing is, it's quite hard at Cheaters because obviously you're right by the bend, and 3 vans were pushing the Dean Kelly ambulance, and before you know it, it sort of went over the tyres and got pretty close to me, but I'm all good, so that's fine. And that's pretty much a quick roundup of the Super September at Ringwood Cheaters. And we look forward to 2021, by the way, so yeah.
So did you go look out Ned is heading right for us now?
Was that, sorry?
I says James will get that quote. Look out, Ned is heading right for us when something's coming right for you.
Yeah, it was pretty tense, but that's the thing with being in the middle, being a photographer. You know, if motorsport is dangerous, anything could happen, but we do it for the love of the sport.
I just realised actually you probably wouldn't get that quote. You're probably too young to watch South Park at the time. You're probably in bed.
Yeah, just basically,
Yeah,
Matt,
probably.
Matt, welcome to my world. Standing that close as things going into the bend right in front of you.
That was great.
And you didn't even have a didn't even have a yellow flag in your hand to protect yourself.
You had a high vis made out of
I had a high vis, and
titanium.
It was the first time this year. Cheats, I've not worn my Speedworth cap as well.
Oh, there you go. That explains it. That's the magical Speedworth cap that repels bangers. So
yeah, it does. It's done well for me. It's just strange. The one day I don't wear it, I almost get killed.
That's all right then.
He hasn't
we'll
took
move
it
on.
off since.
Yeah, that's it. Apparently he sleeps with it. In it.
Yeah.
Not with it. In it.
Yeah, well phrased there, Ed. Well phrased.
Well phrased indeed. See how it goes. Well, we'll just the magic hat. We'll ask Gemma actually. Does he sleep with it or in it? And then we'll know for sure. We'll move on. We were talking about earlier on very briefly. We had another Back to Basics championship. Now our caged president for life, Mr. Keith Rounds. This is another one of his ideas. Who needs a world final? We have the championship of the universe. James Keane was there as well. So, James, was it? Did it match the billing?
Well, I mean, like we said, if we're not going to get the championship of the world, at least we have the championship of the universe. For those that know, it's basically a bit of a tongue-in-cheek comment about, obviously you've got so many world finals. The Back to Basics formula is the fun side of bangers, making it easy point of entry for people that want to get involved. And the championship of the universe is one of the biggest meetings of the year down at Aldershot, and it didn't disappoint in terms of entry with around 70 to 80 Back to Basic cars turning up. The fact that the final had to be moved back so the heats could be split again, and provided action throughout. Heat 1 was won by a man who seems to always win a Back to Basic meeting at Aldershot, 760 Jerry Reynolds. Heat 2 was won by the outgoing championship of the universe, 18 James Friston. Heat 3, 88 Sam Macy took, and Heat 4 was won by 80 Matt Nutley. Again, so the heats in Back to Basics are always a bit nudge and spin throughout. Well, they have to be by the rules, are nudge and spin throughout, so people can get a good day of racing out of their cars. But as we went into the final, around pretty much the Aldershot track limit is around 50, and around 50 cars took the green flag to start off with, and it was pretty much action all the way throughout. 452 Harry Ailes, a man our sponsor Steve Anscombe he's the boyfriend of Steve Anscombe's daughter Abby. He took a pretty decent lead, but the red flags came out with 1 lap to go due to a fire on turn 3. But when the green flags waved again, Harry went away to take the championship of the universe. Again, it's a championship in inverted commas, but it's a really good final win from the young man. He's not that long been out of junior bangers, probably about a year and a half or so. He's already started to make a bit of a name for himself, and he was really good. 322 Paul Brown was second, and 260 Keith Reynolds took third. It would be good to see him win his own championship, but Keith put so much effort throughout the day with the drivers. He's not only a driver, he's also the organiser for the Back to Basics. He's the scrutineer, so he non-stop all day. And then in the Destruction Derby, some absolute carnage over on turn 3 and 4, including Keith's car ended up in a big large smash with quite a few drivers, a few first time drivers out there as well, especially at Aldershot, who all got out with massive smiles on their faces, who had a great day. So again, it just goes to show the Back to Basics scene at Aldershot is going from strength to strength. It was another great meeting, and hopefully, I mean, this year has been a weird year, but Back to Basics has been going from strength to strength in terms of numbers, and on this evidence it will carry on that way. But congratulations to 452 Harry Ailes for winning the final and the champion of the universe now.
Yeah, it's the finest title you can get, really, isn't it? Can't get any bigger than that, or can you? I'm not sure about that, really.
Cage Unlimited Open, biggest championship.
All right. No, fair. I mean, that's the problem, really. If you'd have said a long time ago there were going to be so many different championships, you thought, it's not going to work. But they all seem to bounce off each other, which is the main. There doesn't seem to be any getting stuck. But moving on again, another championship, one with a twist. our very own caged virtual Bangers Championship ended last Friday. I think it was good. I know my vocal cords are a bit bruised by the end of it, but it was all worth it. We went to Arena Essex for the final, so we did a proper World Championship. We had 4 last chance qualifiers, then the World Final itself, a few all-comers, the dash for cash in the DD at the end. And congratulations to number 20, Josh Mashin, who came from the last chance qualifiers into the final from the back and won it in a fairly convincing fashion. I know, Matt, you were taking part. Was it as good to take part in, or were you better off watching it? I know you were getting bashed around the place.
To be honest, Ed, it wasn't that bad. I didn't finish in any top positions, but I didn't really get bombarded by people because I think they were taking it a little bit seriously, trying to actually get some top places on the night. So I had quite a good night, and I was going after Ben Hayes successfully quite a few times. Same with Dippy as well. So overall, I had a bit of a good racing night, and I had a bit of an even better crashing night, really, going after the main 2 enemies of mine, which was good on the night.
So, do you want to plug the reason you were going for your enemies, Matt? You're allowed. You can say that on here.
No, it's fine. It's fine. We've got good banter now. It's fine. We shook hands. There's all smiles out. It should be. But yeah, I feel like I won on the night in terms of crashing into them. So I was happy with the night.
So it wasn't like the figure of 8 round where you're whinging that they're getting me. It's not fair.
There was no dummies. There was no dummies being spat this time.
You sure about that?
Yeah, very sure.
Sure can be.
Yeah, very sure. Okay. I don't do trash talking. I just can't do it.
Oh, he does. Don't worry, listeners. He does, and he the present that myself and Jordan got for Christmas there, the big massive book of racing driver excuses. I don't think that actually came out tonight. I think you're actually. Oh no, it was actually. He did say you watched the cat. He did, because he said he was watching his cat kill a mole.
Yeah. Oh no, that was when my car died, and then I was watching my cat kill a mole. So you guys got that wrong on air live. So yeah.
Did your car die because you were watching your cat kill a mole?
Yeah, no, you're coming back. You see, you're coming back afterwards now. You see, at the time you said what you said, and we picked up on it. And you see, you made a mistake by declaring it. If you'd have said nothing, we said, "Oh, Matt's out of it." But we said live on air, "Oh, Matt's gone to watch his cat kill them all," and James will agree there on that, won't you?
I'd see what taking us away.
God, sorry, Matt. I was just going to say, in terms of excuses, it was amazing. In the more boring form of F1 at the weekend, Nico Rosberg said that a bee hit his helmet and distracted him. And I think afterwards he said, "Well, Matt Josie has taught me about excuses."
Yeah, I think he did actually. Yeah, he definitely did. But Jordan, you were sitting beside me in the virtual commentary box. What was? I think the moment of the meeting was literally the last 3 seconds of the last chance qualifying race. I've never seen a closer finish on a quarter mile oval, real or virtual. Have you?
No. Especially not in terms of national banger racing, or virtual banger racing as it is. No, absolutely superb. For anyone that hasn't seen the last lap of that last LCQ, maybe we should actually put a clip up of it. But no, that was absolutely brilliant. But I think the last chance qualifiers actually set the tone for the rest of the meeting. I was amazed at how serious everyone was taking it. In our stewards group chat or whatever. We were getting bombarded with messages. He did this, he did that. I didn't think you could do this. It is. I mean, it's great that everyone wants to do well and stuff, but it is amazing that even in the virtual world, the guys take it as seriously as if they were actually racing for real. But no, absolutely superb night, superb series, and I think we're going to plan on doing a couple more meetings next year. Not a full series again, or probably not anyway. But yeah, no, we'll be sure to do more of them because, well, I absolutely loved it.
It was really good.
That's good. I loved it too. And I mean, the fact that I just couldn't scrounge together the finance to get a gaming PC of my own and to do the next best thing, really.
No,
but James, you were
yeah. So I was going to say, it's just from my point of view, doing a lot of the technical organising, it worked out better than we thought when we started off just doing the first Caged Open as a virtual series. It just sort of develops and it was really good right towards the very end. And I think we all said we actually felt a bit emotional at the end when it ended, because it sort of ended in the perfect way, with a great meeting. About 4,000 people have watched the racing by the final view count, and so it just shows how exciting the virtual racing can be. The last chance qualifiers were absolutely fantastic, as you've said. It really set the tone.
I think it's fair to say as well, James, it kept you very, very busy, didn't it? I think you need quite a lot of teas and coffees and Red Bulls and stuff like that, I think.
Yeah, I suppose if anyone wants to donate to the Caged Monster Energy Drink Fund, then we'll do another one, because it really was a case of 3-4 in the morning, because we don't run leagues constantly, so it would always be a case of after 3 or 4 weeks then having to get everything sorted out. But the support from the drivers were fantastic. Our points champion Kieran McIver also won the Dash for Cash for charity, and his donation went to Make-A-Wish Foundation, Joe's Weekender Make-A-Wish Foundation. Great cause, so he got £25 in total, and our world champion got £25 that went to the Nottinghamshire Air Ambulance Fund. Again, great cause to go to. So it's good that at least we can do a bit of good out of our frivolous entertainment. So I was just really happy with it the whole way through. I mean, I can't, after a few months break, I can't wait to run the one-off. So I'm sure we'll do a virtual open and do some figure of 8, maybe another team meeting with Totally Trashed and Northern Bangers as well. It was really good. Really good with the way it turned out in the end. And
yeah, I think.
Sorry, Matt. Just one point I want to make is thanks to Jordan and Ed, because you two were the commentators for most of the series, and without you two, it would have just been another online meeting. The fact we could put on a bit of a show was down to you two and all your effort. Being on those mics for 2.5 hours on the virtual meetings, and you made the entertainment, really. Everyone else out there was having just a bit of a laugh, but the entertainment came from you two.
This is the bit where James presents the flowers to both of you.
Oh, thank you.
I'm overcome here.
But yeah, as James said, I think the World Series, I don't think it's a possibility to return next year if things go back to normal, because obviously we're concentrating on the real racing. But it'd be great, definitely, to do again the virtual Caged Open, Weber Crash, bring that back, and possibly maybe another figure of 8 meeting as well, because they were brilliant. So we could do those sort of things, just an annual thing, which would be great fun. But we'd just be glad to do it again. It's like a little now and again sort of thing, hopefully next year.
Absolutely. So sorry to put in here, we do have a comment from the live stream comment thread, and it is from Gemma Dye, Matt. Matt does not sleep with his cap on. Well, at least he doesn't with me.
Oh, thanks, Gemma. It's glad to hear you're supporting Matthew through thick and thin. But and thanks for being a good sport as well. But there is going to start with Matt. Matt takes an awful lot of abuse because he obviously is the leader of Cage, so we're allowed to slag him, really.
We love him, really.
Yeah, but I say, what would you guys do without me? I'm not going to lie, right? James and Jordan, before I brought them onto Cage, they had no mutual friends. They were just people off the street. And now look at them. They're both one's an up and coming motorsport photographer and journalist. Another one is just a mental geek. That's a marshal for Speedworth. So where would they be without us? Without Cage?
James, can you turn off Matt's microphone there, please?
Yeah, no, I probably can, but I think, Matt, the answer would be probably the same, just a little less stressed.
Yeah. No. I think I've said it publicly before, and I'll say it again now. That the opportunities that I've got and the confidence I've gained probably has come from you and Caged, and so thanks for the opportunity. This is getting very deep now, isn't it? It's very emotional.
Go on, if we're gonna get sloppy and stroke Matt's ego, at the same time, it was just as I was falling back in love with the sport, and I posted a post up that said, "Listen to the podcast." That's just as I was falling back in love with the sport, and then got involved with Caged, and then became a marshal, and then now 3 years later, I barely have any sleep, and everything I have smells of oil. So yeah, thanks, Matt.
Yeah,
no problem.
This is getting more emotional than a post-World
Whereas
Final.
Ed was brought in as the well-known banger act from the Wasted magazine days. I saw his name floating about before.
That's it.
So he was an easy pickup.
I needed an output basically, but certainly with the Cage Virtual series, it's allowed me to do something I couldn't really do before, which is commentate. So hopefully we can I can take that further. No, it's been good. It's been very enjoyable, but that's the main thing. But we're not going to get too emotional. We'll save that for certain groups on Facebook, I think, guys. What do you reckon?
Yeah,
definitely.
No, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, just before we do go, I do want to give a shout out to Gary and Stephen. Obviously, it was such big parts of helping us set all this up, and without them, them doing the camera work on the early things and helping us set the packs up, they've definitely been a huge part of it as well. So it wouldn't be right to finish this section without giving them a big thanks too.
Not very much so. I mean, it was very much a team effort. It wasn't just one person. Like everyone kind of chipped in, played did their special role, basically did what they were good at, was the main thing. But a little bit of news just in there. You're saying Eastbourne's going to reopening on the 14th of this month, James?
Yes, that's right, Ed. So as things currently stand, Eastbourne's been it's been a bit sort of here and there whether or not it's going to be reopening, but the return to Arlington will be on the 14th of October with back to basic bangers, 1300cc stock cars, and the 2 litre hot rods. So it's good to see another track reopening, especially a track that always has such good racing like Eastbourne. It's such a tight track. Again, it's a great track. It's really good for the tourists as well, because probably not this year, because it's usually during the summer as well when people can go down the Wednesday nights. It's a really good advert for the sport. But Eastbourne is such a great track, but it's another one open, so it's another one we can tick off that is at least able to open.
I know nothing's been confirmed yet, but I know there is still the idea that they would like to run the Bears Bash again this year. Is there a chance of that? I know the Bears official Facebook page there's something about it, but
there's no talk about that at the moment. Sorry, Matt. It's 99% not going to happen, because but at the moment it's struggling to fit the fixtures in as it is, and the Bears Bash is one of those summer meetings you put on with the big crowds.
I suppose it is getting late in the year as well. That's the other problem. That's
not going to happen this year.
Well, that's it. I mean, like we said earlier on, just be thankful for what's there, because obviously we're running out of weekends now this year. Like we're into October already, so it's just be a case of be thankful for what's there and the effort that's been put in behind the scenes as well, because it's not always easy dealing with local councils, local government decisions and all that as well. It's just we're not the COVID podcast. What are we going to talk about? But we all have our own feelings on it, whether they be good or bad. But yeah, I think we're getting close to the end there, guys. Is there anything else we want to bring up, or will we give this one the checkered flag?
Just quickly, I think we should clarify that the Caged Open at Stan Lake will remain on the 6th of December. I know after the 1600cc World Final was moved as a result of the National Banger World Final moving, we can confirm that it will remain on the same day of Sunday, the 6th of December. So if any drivers understandably are racing at Ipswich or are helping out at Ipswich, whether they're going to be a mechanic or whatever, please do let us know if you are booked in for our meeting, if you wish to unbook, because we do have a long reserve list and we would like to keep the meeting as full as we can.
Sure. And also there's one other point there, one other news item there, of course, we mentioned the work Keefe does. There's 2 big meetings that are mainly part of his brainchild. On the 11th of October there'll be a limited back to basics at Aldershot, and then probably the one of the biggest meetings that Keefe puts on is the Team 3 litre Unlimited Tongan Classic, which will be on the 18th of October. And if you've not been to one of those meetings, you really should, because if you like the sound of engine noises with rotten old rear wheel drives going around, it sits sort of in the middle of national bangers and back to basics. It's a place where you can go and see almost like how bangers used to be back in the late 80s, early 90s. And that's always usually a great race.
Yeah.
And possibly Rover P4s and P5s guaranteed. You always get P5s at these meetings, let's face it. Be great to see a few more of those around the track.
Oh, yeah, I mean, back to the old days, back when I started going racing, Matt. You were even a bad idea then at that stage.
Yeah, then back in the 1970s, Ed, when you were about 10.
when everything was black and white.
I'm hi, is it funny, guys? I'm pre-90, but I'm not pre-75. How does that sound?
If you have to define yourself by which pre-banger meeting you'd be qualifying for, you're probably getting a bit old.
Well, we're pre-90 as well, so Jordan can't take part in that one, can he?
Yeah,
You're so old, you get a top car trophy.
I can't even take part in the pre-2000. Nearly.
No.
Yeah, Jordan.
You've been in Ninja Karts.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, Jordan. Yeah, are you still eligible to drive a Ninja Kart? Just about.
Just about, yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'll ask Gavin Billy Wood if I can do my testing. Maybe I'll get out for 1 or 2 meetings this season. I'll have to ask my mum and dad, though, see how much money they've got left in the bank.
It'd probably be a Ninja Kart with a raised up roof.
Yeah, I was going to say, if they could make Ninja Karts slightly bigger, I mean, that would be absolutely fantastic.
They do. They're called Stocks Karts.
Stocks Karts.
Ask Ian Higgins. Ask Ian Higgins, get involved.
And they're full contact as well.
And they are. And I'll tell you what, they are probably one of the best formulas I've seen race. I think, again, just to sidetrack quickly, me and my dad see Labour on at a Mildenhall domestic, and we went for the national bangers and the saloon stock cars, and we were thinking, this is like another junior formula. And when we were walking around the pits and we were seeing fully grown adults jump into these cars, we were like,
I know that
oh my
feeling.
God, this is random. But I'll tell you what, fair play to the guys and girls, because they put on some fantastic racing.
Absolutely, it is a bit of a sidetrack here, but definitely in terms of how it's run, the work Ian Higgins puts in to run that formula. If anyone actually just wants to get out on the oval, rent a stocks car and just go and have a go, because in terms of how it's
formula
run,
that
it's
has
so
the quad bike, it's the pace car.
It is, yeah,
Yes.
that's the one. But yeah, stocks cars run themselves so well. They are really fun. And if I've marshalled a few stocks cars thing, and you just see how much passion Ian has for running that formula. It's fantastic. So I know we've sidetracked a bit here for bangers, but they do deserve that shout out, because if we're talking about just someone who might have gone and watched and then just wants to go and have a go, just send him a message.
Well, they're full contact formula as well, so we'll give them the respect that they deserve anyway.
I wouldn't call them full contact. You can't go in and follow someone in.
Oh, can you not? Damn. Well, I heard a few people.
I've seen it happen, but you're not meant to.
I would just brush that one under the carpet, I think.
I was going to say, yeah. So,
Because
Is this where Ed says, what is it, Jeremy Clarkson's final words on Top Gear? And on that
bombshell, yeah.
that's too overused, but I think we'll rob another Top Gear quote, which is... Anyway.
Moving on.
I think we've covered everything we wanted to cover this evening, so we'll try to wrap this one up, and we'll say thank you very much to our 3 panelists, and as well as that, our 3 creative directors of Cage, really, not forgetting a few other people as well. But thank you very much, James Keane.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ed. Thank you, Jordan. Thanks, Matt. It's been a real good laugh. I know tomorrow night I should be going to Ipswich, but at least I've been able to talk a bit of bangers and have a bit of fun. And thanks to everyone listening, and hopefully we'll be somewhere near normal soon.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Jordan. Very passionate input to it on, as always. And thank you.
Cheers, Ed. Thank you, everyone else, for listening and for tuning in. And keep safe in this time of uncertainty that we face ourselves in, and hopefully see you at Ipswich on the 14th of November, if not before.
Okay, now it says here in the contract that I actually do have to do this, so thank you very much, Matt Josie.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in tonight. Roll on the next podcast and possibly roll on the World Final if it does go ahead.
Well, let's hope so. We'll hopefully be back in the next month to discuss what's going on, or what may not have us, fortunately. But the final thank you is to our main sponsor, of course, Cecil's Rent a Rookie and UK Action Cars. You want to give banger racing a proper go, they're really the only guys you want to talk to these days. But that's been episode 52 of the Cage Full Throttle podcast. I've been Ed Fahey. Thank you very much. Stay safe.